and will need assistance from there.
Round about 6 laps for Tom Christensen before he hands to Luca Di Grassi with 2
hours
hours to go, and here's how
go.
it stands. Just on 55 seconds between the Porsche. What a turnaround in fortunes for them. They haven't had a car that's looked good all weekend, and yet they've got a minute's lead over the 2 Audis in second and third. In P2, it's Maurizio leading for the 27 Oreca. Fred McAfee leads a Porsche 1-2 in GTE Pro, 92 from 91, and it's Porsche, Ferrari, Aston in AM. 88, 61 and 95. Christian Reed, Mark Wachocci and Christian Poulsen. And this is where we leave you to say ooh and ah as the fireworks go off. It's 9 o'clock local time. Lone Star Le Mans from the Circuit of the Americas. Round 4 of the FIA World Endurance Championship. And people have steered.
Wonderful. It's what we're looking for. It's growth. It's building an audience here for a very different discipline of motorsports, in an area of the world that has not necessarily had that tradition, and so far it seems to be working. Meantime, the 47 car, the KCMG car, has managed to recover back to the grey stuff. So 47 recovers, but has now dropped to 4th position. 5th place car, by the way, we should mention, the 37 car is in trouble and has been in the garage. I think still is there, the 37 S&P racing car. Deval, great to see Loic back.
Yeah.
After
unbowed, no loss of pace. The leaders have been asked, the leaders team manager, which is Olaf Mantai. Mantai has been asked to go to the race control director's office. Let's look back at the highlights. It was beautiful sunshine when we started 4 hours ago. Question mark over the start was ruled out relatively early on. The 2 Porsches and the 2 Audis trying to force their way through. It was the Toyotas who had the speed earlier on, though, and particularly the 7 of Alexander Wirtz, who was pressing the go fast button. A little tap up the rear fin for his look. Stablemates, Audi and Porsche, internecine battle there from the Volkswagen Audi group, and Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich liking 2 outcomes as mid positions. The GT battle, as ever, fast and furious. Started off being Aston versus Ferrari, with the 8-star car and the Works Aston battling at the head of AB. Sebastian Buemi built up over 36 seconds of a lead and spun 13 of it away in that incident. The Aston Martin lucky, I think, to get away without penalty for hitting Tracy Krohn in the S's. About LMP2, well, a small but decent entry, and the number 30 ESM car, Ryan DL and Scott Sharp doing a couple of brilliant stints at the start, and then Mike Conway getting away with it massively when he lost control of the car. Timo Bernhard went off not once but twice after the Porsche team inexplicably made 2 bad decisions, and
put both cars onto slicks.
Both cars slicks. Audi came in and got wet and survived, as did a couple of other people. Darren Turner managed to stay out on wets and got a lap on the rest of the on slicks rather, and got a lap on the rest of the GTE field. And after something around about 85 minutes, I think, before we went back to green, possibly even a little more, we got side-by-side action straight away as the number 8 Toyota with Nico Lapierre set off at a pace and pretty much got a whole lap back on the leaders in his stint. Porsche's gambling, LMP Porsche's gambling early on Inters, which seems to have paid off for the moment for Neil Yarni, although there's an issue that needs discussion with the team manager at the moment. And the battles have been just as hot and heavy at the front of the field as they have been throughout all of the classes. And whatever else we will take away from this race is the LMP hybrid category, with 3 different answers to the same question, is very nicely balanced indeed as we go into the second half of the season. Quick spin at turn 19 for somebody, by the way, in real time. I'll tell you who that was at the moment. And as it stands, with an hour and 55 to go, Neil Yarni leads by 55 seconds from Tom Christensen for Audi in second. Tom due in about 4 laps' time. Marcel Fessler is the second Audi in third position, and he's just 2 seconds or so behind his teammate. And those 3 cars still on the lead lap. Anthony Davidson, the first car in the Toyota without the lead lap. It's very recently, the highlights we're watching there is Tsunoda Matsuda. Matsuda spun out of second position down to 4th in P2. And it was the 13 car that had the incident at turn 19 at the penultimate corner. And that is the rebellion of Fabio Lima, GP3 driver.
GP2 champion last year.
Last year.
Yep. Astonishing variety in terms of pace and fortune in the 4 hours so far. 4 hours so far. All 3 factory teams have led this race overall. I think all 5 LMP2 cars have led their class. And we've seen leaders too from Porsche, from Ferrari and from Aston Martin. Now, stepping into the booth, here's a face we've not seen at a WEC race before. Oh, you know what? Great comeback. Oh, indeed, I guess Le Mans.
Oh, yeah. I guess
Harry Tingle, welcome to the Circuit Americas. How are you finding this?
Yeah, really enjoying it. Really glad to be here. First time at the Circuit Americas. Really enjoying it. Really enjoying the atmosphere, and obviously it's not a bad place to sort of be hanging around.
Now, it's been a great season so far for COTA Sport. Bit of up and down start to it, but a fabulous result at the Le Mans 24 Hours, of course. I think I've seen you lurking in the back of one of those factory garages. Is that because the wee man's had you over here for a bit of a look-see?
Yeah, well, obviously I'm been mentored by Alan now for a number of years, and I'm here, yeah, basically having a bit of a smooch around, see what's going on, try and learn a little bit from the Audi guys, and also see some of the American teams as well, with the Touch Series also racing this weekend. And obviously with the link up with COTA and Audi Sport, it means it's a good opportunity for me to watch and learn from some of the current Audi drivers to see if I can take a little bit away and improve when I go back to the events.
I think it's fair to say you've turned a few heads in your short term so far in LMP2. We've seen what was described earlier this weekend by Darren Cox in the Nissan press conference as the Hartley effect. I think we'd have to be mugs to imagine that wouldn't be something that might be on your radar in terms of the possibilities. Just give an idea in terms of what is the marketplace like up there for a young driver trying to make the way as a career in sports cars right now.
I think it's a place with a lot of opportunity, but it's still very tough. And LMP1 is one of the hardest categories in the world with some of the best drivers. So to make your mark and get into one of those setups is certainly very difficult. But I'm really enjoying the challenge in LMP2. I think it's a brilliant leader series into LMP1, and I think Brendan's shown that if you can be quick and do a good job in LMP2, you can step into the LMP1 car and be competitive straight away. So I'm just focusing on my hardest on doing the best I can on the track with COTA, but it's nice to know that the P1 teams are watching a little bit.
We're watching out here. It's a small but perfectly formed P2 grid. I think we were just saying, just as you came and sat down, I think all 5 of these cars have actually led the race. Just give us your impressions at the moment of what we're seeing out there, the standards. We've got a wide variety of machinery. We've got the HPD here having a bit of a look ahead of their new cars. We've got the brand new Ligier. What do you fancy for next year? If given the choice, if you stay with COTA, you've got a lovely old lady there in the Zytek.
Yeah, I think that the Zytek has proven that even though she's getting a little bit old, it's still very competitive, and it's nice to see the variety of chassis. And like you said, the Ligier's come out this year and it's been strong straight away, and I'm sure they're only going to get better. And obviously in 2017, all the LMP2 cars go to closed top. But until then, we can continue to run the Zytek and any other of the open top cars we want to. So it creates quite a lot of variety. But it doesn't seem to me like the newer cars have become massive game changers, and you have to go to a new car to be competitive. So I think we're just going to evaluate at the end of the season what's what. But I think for the moment, it certainly seems like the Zytek is at least holding its own. So we're quite happy.
Still not the end of the European Le Mans Series season this year yet. Just remind viewers what you guys have got to do to come out and wave the silverware on the top step at the end of the season.
Well, we're 10 points behind Signatech Alpine in the championship, so if my maths is correct, we have to win and they have to finish third. And if we do that, then we'll be champions. Estoril will suit our car a lot better than it did Paul Ricard. We're very quick in the corners, but also got quite a lot of drag. So the sort of tighter and twistier Estoril and out the long straight will help us a lot. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see.
As we're talking about that battle, we're watching another battle actually on the screen at the moment, and that I think was a positional change. It was Marcel Fessler dragging by Tom Christensen. It's very, it's not a good thing to do that to a nobleman at all, is it really? It's rather rude. It's not the kind of form you expect at this time of the evening. So Fessler goes through. It's 14 Porsche, 52 seconds ahead now of Marcel Fessler, who I'm sure will have the hammer down now and look to close that gap, with Tom Christensen dropping back to third, Anthony Davidson now fourth position in the Toyota. Meanwhile, the Lotus, or the CLM, or whatever we're going to call it this week, James Rosser at the wheel, is reported to have a door open out there. It might just be the humidity. Might just be the humidity here. It's been a problem all day, as we see. That might well have been. Was that the Lotus? No, that was the number 1 Audi having a bit of a Tokyo drift on the outside curbs there, as Tom Christensen tries to fight back to increasingly distant Marcel Fessler. So how are you finding the spectacle here? What do you think of this track? What do you think of the WEC 6-hour show? You've been part of it, as you correctly reminded me, with Spa. But is this somewhere you'd like to be in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. And when I was walking down here, we had the firework display, so it's certainly very, very good show they've put on here. The circuit looks fantastic, and obviously being a World Championship, it's for sure somewhere I'd like to go in the future. But if you look at Le Mans this year, the ELMS cars are very well represented in that, in terms of the final standings. So it's
I think the top 11 places actually.
So we're racing a competitive series, but I think it's it's good to see that the ESM car is moving to the World Championships for next year, and I think it's going to get stronger and stronger, the P2 car.
Yep, we were talking to Scott Sharp just before he came into the booth, and whilst not confirming, as Tom Christensen pits from third position, not confirming a full World Championship campaign, certainly I think we're going to see them in more than one WEC race next year in what looks like quite a handsome new Honda. New cars are plenty on the way, it seems. And this is a highly competitive race, and never more so than in LMP2, as you say, a small but perfectly formed grid. And it's now Julian Canal right on the rear end of the number 27 car. This is a real-time championship lead battle, because the 27 car did well out of the rule quirks that came out of the Le Mans 24 Hours, very well indeed. The G-Drive team are the ones that have dominated on pace this season, but they need a serious hatful of points start to the ground opened up by Sergei Zlobin and the SMP Racing team. The Lotus at the moment, or the CLM, between the two. Number 1 Audi off the jacks. And back onto intermediates, John. So clearly they're not... Oh, no, sorry. Now, I thought they'd come off the jacks and just got onto the jacks. My apologies. They're putting that car onto slicks. Tom has just been on the wrong tyres at the wrong times, hasn't he? Throughout most of this race. It must have been a very frustrating day indeed so far for Tom Christensen. Luca Di Grassi now aboard the car. The man who would love to be the first Brazilian to win the Le Mans 24 Hours, of course. And we wait to see whether or not he might be joined by another couple of famous Brazilians in a one-off entry for another team in Interlagos in this season. Noted by several people that Emerson Fittipaldi appeared as a bronze, no less, on the driver rankings this time around. Oh! And that was a big stumble. That was the 26 car. They've had a trouble race, and that just looked to be Julian Canal catching himself out. What did you see there, you think?
Well, this is a very difficult situation, because he's trying to pass the Lotus car. And that Lotus obviously hasn't had much running, so is a lot slower in the corners but quick down the straight. So I
think he's got a problem. Yes, he has. That car was briefly airborne, wasn't it? And it looked to me like I thought the right rear, John, was towing out. So, right rear towing out. We'll see whether or not Julian Canal comes into the pits, but it's not really been their day today.
It's a big shame, isn't it? I mean, he was desperate to try and get past the Lotus to then attack the leader in the class, and it's so difficult when you get in that position. I had the same thing in Spa with Nick Heifeld.
I remember you, yeah.
And he was for that new Rebellion car, and he was so slow through the corners, I didn't quite know what was going on. He said to me afterwards he felt like he was the shifter guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the shifter car compared to, big problem.
And he would have enjoyed that any more than you did, I suppose, but he'll been under his orders. Stay out, stay quick as you can. Julian Cadell here is in big trouble, I think. That car, no doubt, is going to be on pit lane in just a moment or two's time. Meantime, on board the number 30 car, this is Ryan Diel. He will have taken that position up to second position in Class 4, the Extreme Speed Motorsport car. Ryan revelling in the additional grip he's got this weekend compared to his usual spec Contis. On Dunlop rubber, of course. Brake disc glowing brightly now in the darkness.
I was speaking to Ryan yesterday, and they were saying that the Dunlop was about 2.5 seconds.
With 2 to 3 seconds quicker.
Yeah.
Slight differences, relatively speaking, in the aero package compared to the Tusk spec for the P2 cars, but the big difference is that we have a real tyre war in LMP2, in WEC and ELMS racing, with a strange rule I found out later in the season that I probably should have done, which is that on demand, either as the 26 car does indeed pit, and I'm sure will go on the dollies as they, I think, attends to some of the kind of routine maintenance, door open. We're going to see this from a different angle here. Went for the inside, James Roster cut in, too late. A bit of impatience there, I think, from Gillian. That was a big hit on that curb.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. Like I was saying earlier at Spa, you just lose so much time in the corners. And yeah, he's just sort of dived down the inside.
They're making a late call here. Nobody attending to anything on the rear right at the moment. Nose being removed.
They're going to try and fix it in the pit lane, I think.
Well, removed a change of nose for the car, but that rear right corner does not look right to me.
Yeah, I thought it was the rear of the car that was damaged, not necessarily the front. Either way, they're losing a lot of time here. He's going to put them out of contention, I think. I'm not quite sure they know what's going on.
No. There certainly will have been some damage there. I think he went over one of those awful orange inner curbs that launched the car. So we've got the 14 Porsche on pit lane 2. This is the leader, Neil Yarney, who's in the car as the car pitted. I think we're due for Neil to get a driver change there, though. And that will put, and has put, Marcel Fessler back up front. Moment in championship terms, this is very good news indeed for Audi. Mark Lieb rejoins the race in the number 14 car. Ten laps short from the stint for Yarney. So is there a problem for the number 14 car? We'll soon see. Mark Lieb back out into the fray. Dealing with... There you go, 26 car is indeed in the garage. This does not look the sort of well-oiled display we'd normally see from the Oak Racing guys. I think there's a degree of panic here.
Yeah,
I think that is quite
ready to go on the car.
I think this is quite a broken car, actually. Here we see it launches over the curb.
Yeah, you can bit crabbing as it's landed again. It's so frustrating when you're in that position where you can't overtake a slow car and you can see the leader in class just ahead, and it just looks like Julian's got a little bit hasty with his decision making there.
Meantime, Randiel has taken the lead in class, courtesy of the 27 car making a pit stop. Maurizio Mediani, who joins in the car. So that's two potential championship contenders that have fallen foul of exactly what Harry's talking about, which is almost red light frenzy. They've seen the back of that looming 27 car, which they know that they're as quick, at least as, and probably quicker. And two mistakes, one from Julien Canal we've just seen in the Ligier, and the other for Sugio Tsuda in the 47 car, which has fallen down now to third position, because I think we're going to see that Ligier in the garage for quite some time. Now, you've been spending some time here. What would you think they were thinking of in this race? Were they hopeful pre-race with this one? We know there were some problems in qualifying with I think it was a lap counter, wasn't it? The lap sensor. But they had good pace, but then didn't quite deliver.
I think in testing they were relatively surprised and weren't 100% sure if Toyota and Porsche were sandbagging a little bit or not, because they were pleasantly surprised with the pace, and then in qualifying obviously they had the electronic issue, which was frustrating, and I think they anticipated a tough race, and certainly early on it seemed the number 8 Toyota was very, very strong, but then the rain came, and I think they were the only two LMP1 cars that actually stayed on the circuit with
absolutely right. They came in, they changed to wets, and the other guys didn't. They saved a lap. As we've got a Aston Martin, that's the 98 car going around. That is the third place car in class at the final turn. Christopher Nygaard recovers and will retain third position. Meantime, by the way, we've seen a change for the lead in GTE Pro. Nick Tandy is now ahead of Fred Makovicky, but that gap's still under a second. It's a tight race in GTE Pro, and has been throughout, but it's gone a little bit. It's been a bit of a pendulum. May very well be the number 2 car that's actually leading, but there's fast lappery behind at the moment, and quick sectors coming in from all the chasing cars. Mark Lieb going quickly down to the 51s, and Davids at the moment on a very quick lap, the fastest overall in the race so far, and we've had almost, what, 4.5 hours of it now in sector 1, and then the fastest lap of the race so far for the number 1 car, 151.394 in 4th position. Good news, bad news, by the way, for the number 26 crew. The very bad news is, you can see on screen right now, I think a fairly considerable repair required to the rear end of that car. It is the area we all thought it was. It didn't seem as if the team spotted that quickly enough, unfortunately. It seemed rather odd that they didn't have that car straight into the garage. The upside, and it's a small one, is no further action for the shortcut earlier.
Yeah, I think
it probably would have taken
the shortcut. Yeah. No, it just seemed like you say, they weren't quite sure where the problem was, but like we alluded to, it's dropping them right out of contention now. So I think it's going to be between the top 3 in LMP2 now for the win.
And this is looking very good indeed for the LMP Racing crew, because they will, if they finish the race in the order we're looking at the moment, score maximum points, because of course the number 30 car does not score points in the championship. It's a one-off entry here, but Ryan Diel, I think, is revelling in this. 158 his last lap around, 158.9 for Ryan against 204 for the car behind him, and he's going to have a big wide grin, I think, at the end of this race.
Well, he's going to be smiling for sure, and if they can hold on to this, it wouldn't be a bad debut for him, would it?
Yeah, indeed. It's been a week of mixed emotions for people with the Solitaire on the side of the helmet. I'm sure you've been dealing with a very grumpy Alan McNish all week.
I couldn't possibly say. He's been taking a lot of stick with all the Audi guys, which is good to see.
Well, there is still hope, because we are still apparently waiting for the the Monaco vote. It could make it make all the difference. Him and Coulthard, you never do know. Brendan Hartley now running quickly, and FI regulations, of course, dictates, as we see on the screen just a moment ago. That's quite correctly. We're going to allow Ryan DL to be British again.
Well, he's winning. So.
He's winning.
Yeah,
that's fine. Like Andy Murray.
Exactly.
So 4 minutes until we've got just 90 minutes remaining. The 91 car still leading now. Nick Tandy pulling away reasonably quickly just at the moment. It's been a gap at the front of GTE Pro that's been separated by just tenths for what seems like the last, well, certainly seems like since we went back to green flag racing. But all of a sudden Nick Tandy seems to have found where the boost button is, and as three's good now from Fred McAfee. Going down to Louise now, who's with Tom Christensen, who's out of quite frustrating stint in the Audi, number 1.
Tom, you've split the pit stops between you and the number 2. Do you think it was a wise thing to do to stay out on those wets?
We thought it would, of course, would drive. It would have been brilliant if we could go directly from the wets onto the slicks. This backfired, but we still made stop less, so we will have a stop less to do. So it's still some possibilities, but it was very tough at that time, and to not to be able to go on slicks, I think that was a right decision. But that was our aim, and that was our target. But in the short term, it backfired, but still an hour and a half left.
Lovely, thank you.
Tom, very clear there. There's strategic choices always to be made here, Harry. You've been on, I'm sure, both sides of that knife edge. But there's two sides to this. There's a tyre choice, but they're also working on saving fuel.
Absolutely, and my eyes have been open to the fuel saving that they have to do in the LMP1 class this year. This weekend is quite incredible, actually, and the amount of fuel they use per lap now has just come down by so much, and it's really amazing actually on the lap how much lift off and coast there is around the lap, and I think that's obviously something that the drivers have to adjust to, but it seems like Tom is doing that really well, even though he's probably not been used to that so
Absolutely,
much.
it's a massive change in skill set. We were talking about it earlier as being akin to the change from a traditional race driver to something more like a fighter pilot in terms of the inputs you've got. You've had a winter on that world. I mean, just what is the kind of the workload now for the guys in these top B1 hybrid cars?
Well, I've been listening to the radio for the whole race, and they're on the radio to them the whole time. Like, Nino's probably talking to the drivers 4 or 5 times a lap, and so much information to take in. And I've actually driven the R18 as part of a motorsport magazine feature, and just the steering wheel has got so many buttons and options and I just couldn't believe the complexity that goes into it. Even for a short run like I did, the amount of stuff I was having to change all the time is quite incredible.
Trouble out at turn 3 for somebody. We'll bring you details of that as soon as we can see it. And whoever it was has managed to get going again. Marcel Fessler, meanwhile, is now 42 seconds to the good over Mark Lieb. So Fessler from Lieb from Anthony. So all 3 factory teams represented in the top 3 again. With Lucas de Grassi beginning to close the gap on Ant Davidson. Now back to 4 cars, of course, on the lead lap, although Ant Davidson does owe us a stop. The 95 car, this is a previous leader. It was the 88 car, by the way. In fact, sorry, that's the 88 car, which is the leader in GTM, and we're now looking at a previous leader in the class. 95, Richie Stanaway joined us in the booth a little while ago. This car running second for the moment. Christian Reed, by the way, did rejoin.
Yeah,
so spun and rejoin.
8 seconds.
8 seconds.
In the middle sector, so not
I think
drastic.
Yeah, I think he had a better part of a lap advantage.
Yeah.
Another of the cars to hit the sweet spot over the red flag. Certainly some conflicting emotions around. I think Harry, I'm sure, is now going to go and see how this plays out. We've got an hour and a half left of the race. That strategy that Tom Christensen was edging towards is going to begin to kind of piece itself together, and I sense a young racing driver that is quite enjoying being on these cans, but would rather like to be on the ones with the Audi 4 rings on one ear.
Well, we'll see. Maybe one day we'll just keep doing what I'm doing in the LMP2 stuff, and I'm sure it will come eventually.
Always a pleasure. It's been great to see Harry maturing into a sports car racing career this year. There's got an awful lot more action to come at Estoril for COTA Sports, and then we'll see what 2015 brings. For the moment, Harry, thanks very much indeed for spending some time with us.
Cheers, Graham. Thanks a lot for that.
So into the pit lane comes Fred Markovici, giving up the lead of the race as he did so.
No, second. He was
second. He'd already been passed by Tandy.
Tandy had been passed by Tandy a wee while ago. He's now down to third because at the moment the man on the charge, John, is Stefan Mucker, and he's trying to make some impact on Nick Tandy's lead. So British driver in German car leads German driver in British car.
Love the sound of the air hammers late at night. Nothing better. Yeah, you're right, he had the 2 lights on when he came in the pit lane there. And that will reset as he goes back out.
The Audis now going more quickly than they have throughout this race. 151s for both the Audis in first position. Number 2 car in the hands of Marcel Fesler, and fourth for Lucas de Grassi.
As we've just seen the GTEs, the Porsches have got an advantage over the Aston in that they are going longer on fuel.
Yeah.
We've seen this before, haven't we, with a variety of GTE cars. The Ferrari used to have a bit of an advantage in that area, and then the Porsche, the previous iteration of the Porsche, picked it up. The Aston has never been frugal on fuel, but my goodness me, has it been quick.
It's been very quick,
but it's had more fuel allowance recently.
Yep, but as David Richards says, they've also now been restricting how quickly they can put the fuel in the car. So whatever they do with that fuel, unless they put less fuel in, they're going to take longer in the pit stops, put for the same amount of fuel as the Porsches or the Ferraris.
It's been a recurring theme, hasn't it? Because they had the same problem with IMSA in the American Le Mans Series days, where they were taking 10, 13 seconds longer than the Corvettes to fill. Here comes the sister car that is out of the lead of class.
And indeed, at the same time in pit lane is Stefan Mucker.
Right, so he won't take over the lead. But they have both just... Now, that's very interesting, because now they've evened up the pit stops, of course.
Yeah.
James Collado, the 5th pit stop for the 71 car. Jimmy Bruni has done his 4 pit stops, and he is off the... Now, will he get back round in time to get back on the lead lap? I don't think he will. Patrick Pile on his out lap. So it's a battle of the pit crews at the moment. Aston on the left, Porsche Team Montai on the right.
What you're looking for here is something that's less than 17 seconds as a difference to the good for Aston Martin to close that gap. This is
Porsche goes down,
closing the gap.
4 seconds. 4 seconds the difference between when the cars went down. Let's see as they come out. This is a full service stop for both the 91 and the Aston, number 97.
It's a long stop for the Porsche.
I don't think the Porsche's moved yet. It hasn't. It's still sitting there. Something has gone wrong. The car dropped down.
Martin takes
the position. Now that is a massive swing of fortune.
That's taken the lead of the race, John.
The Porsche dropped down onto its wheels. Now there's Stefan Mucker giving himself a touch. Could he not look a little bit more tired and sweaty than that? Louise is down there, making sure he cools down a little bit. Let's see what he's got to say. The 91 still stationary.
Stefan literally just out of the car. It's hot and hard work out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Not easy conditions. The track was still damp when I went out, and it was drying at the end. The line is dry now, but still not easy. Still quite hot. The humidity is quite high. And yeah, we try to go more to the front. We try all we can. Let's see what's coming out.
Do you think you can? Do you think you can do it?
Sorry?
Do you think you can do it?
I mean, we closed the gap a little bit, but it's still a couple of hours to go. So let's see, finger crossed.
Thank you.
And on the right-hand side of the screen now in full vision, we said there was a problem. The 91 car dropped down onto its wheels, but it was somewhat recalcitrant in firing up. I had a couple of goes at it, and they put it on the dollies, and now back in the box, back in the garage.
There's some kind of drive problem there, John, and I think...
Did it fire?
I think it did fire. The car seemed to lurch forward very slightly. There's a shake of the head from Jörg Bergmeister there.
Clutch or drivetrain then?
Yeah, and I think probably Louise will have found that Stefan Mucker's slightly wry look at the end of the interview will have changed to something rather more joyful as he realised what was happening further down the pit lane, because he clearly was unaware of the problem.
This is the leading car then. The 92 car leads the class from Darren Turner back out by something around... Well, it's going to be less than 10 seconds when we next see them. The two round headlights or driving lights in the front valance of that 991
it's exactly
Porsche.
10 seconds. Sorry, it's 10.1.
It goes very, very wide as the CLM of James Rossiter comes up the inside. I'm surprised that car is still circulating. It didn't have a number on the right-hand side of that car. There's the... That is so Porsche, isn't it? That very, very high-pitched whine from the gearbox. Through the S's, coming up all of the curve there on the left, now climbing the hill. Turn number 9 is, that's 8 coming up now. Turn number 9, the left-hander, all across the curves again. And then turn 10, very, very quick. Looks like a little kink, but it's all dropping away at the driver's right. Down towards turn 11. Wait, end of the curve, brake, down, 1, 2, 3, 4 gears. Really late turning, because you've got a prototype right up your inside. But look how much speed the Porsche took through the apex there. This is the 71 of James Collado that we saw dropping back, and that's in the pit lane as well. Davide Rigon and James Collado. James in the car.
All of a sudden, GT Pro
blown open. Blown open.
Well, another drama I think we're going to be seeing as they bring in the car, the 91 car back out, is that the third place car now from nowhere is Jimmy Bruni again, and going quicker than anybody in the class.
And only 46 seconds from the lead.
So we want to be looking for the lap times that Darren Turner is beginning to squeeze out, because I think he's making some inroads into Patrick Pilet's advantage here. Gap down to 9 seconds.
Well, that is a shocker for the Porsche, because that clearly wasn't anything majorly mechanical. That wasn't, you know, they can't have changed a clutch or a drive shaft in that time. We didn't even see them pop the engine cover off the car at the back.
They seem to be kind of implying that perhaps Nick had done something wrong in the car, or that some kind of selection had been made that was wrong in the car. Whether or not that was an electronics problem, a relay problem, who knows? Jimmy Bruni down into 206s, 208 was Patrick Pilet, 206 is Darren Turner. Darren Turner closes the gap from 10 seconds 1 full lap ago to a second and a half less than that this time. This is going to be a corker if it carries on like this for the next hour and 20 minutes. The overall lead still in Audi's hands, still in Marcel Fessler's hands. Mark Lieb trying to make an impact on that advantage, but no great effect immediately right now. Slower last time around in traffic. Losing, what, 2 or 3 seconds to the leader. And with Anthony Davidson looking to make up ground and going much quicker behind, 30 seconds back from the Porsche, and he has to have a hurry up because Lucas Di Grassi is quick behind him.
17 seconds further back.
And Davidson owes us a stop.
Yeah, I was just about to say he owes us a stop, but when does he owe us a stop? James Collado's problem was electrical, says Louise from the pit lane. Thank you.
Battery?
This is the 71 car, possibly a battery. Should have bought the more expensive ones. Ones with the copper top. Brendan Hartley puts the car's fastest lap of the race in.
That's the second time in 3 laps he's done it as well, so Brendan absolutely punning on the coals at the moment.
And he is a minute and 10 seconds behind Luca Di Grassi in 4th position for Audi. And we'll expect to see Anthony Davison next time around, says Paul Truswell. Just because we're doing TV doesn't mean we don't have the access to the wizard.
James
the wizard of walking.
James Collado, by the way, back out of the pits. As we're on board now with Marcel Fessler. It's a fascinating but altogether healthy sound, isn't it?
What, the Porsche gearboxes? Or the Audi, rather?
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's the fact that it doesn't sound like it's on full throttle all the time.
It doesn't. It's a very strange sound.
I'll tell you what. Let's have listeners have a listen to this. He's going to pump the throttle through the first S's, but wait till hopefully we'll stay on board till the back straight. Have a listen to this. This is the Audi number 2. So you can hear the moderation of the throttle through those bits. Listen, he's on full gas down. But then you hear it flutter as if it's just before he starts to brake. It's a really weird thing.
It's a very strange thing, isn't it? Another lap in the 151s, by the way, for Brendan Hartley. And slightly balked in his final sector. Otherwise, I think we'd have seen another lap lowering the bar for that car. And as we're watching on board with Marcel, he passed Darren Turner. Darren is making inroads.
Ryan DL comes in from the lead of P2, having done another cracking stint. He was the first man on slicks, I think, in the field, but certainly in P2. And he got back to the head of the field. He's in the pits now, so Maurizio Mediani's just gone through in the 27 Oregon and will retake the lead.
And just watching the latest pit stop for the car, I'm afraid, trailing the order in GTE Pro. It's the 65 Corvette, and Doug Feehan very much in evidence in the pit garage there, keeping an eye on things. Patrick Pilet, I think, is struggling for pace at the moment. He's had a couple of laps which have been not anywhere close to the kind of pace that we've seen from him in that attack on the lead, if you remember, not that long ago.
He's still doing all right. 2:07.3 is not bad.
But the gap is coming down. There was 10 seconds, remember. It's down to 5.3 now with the attack from Darren Turner still underway.
But he's getting very close to one more pit stop. In fact, he may already be in the realm of one more pit stop. Huge sparking by the number 20 and Brendan Hartley as he gave the Orange Pyramids a wide berth. The man from New Zealand, he was born in 1989, which just scares me. I have training shoes that are older than that.
Yeah, number 20 Porsche there, blasting by the LMP2 leader, to Mediani, as you quite rightly said, John.
Ed Brown, the man at the head of the expanding Tequila Patron empire, is now in the number 30 car. He's out. He's dropped down to 3rd position. Matsuda must be kicking himself, still in that number 47 car.
They're going quickly now, Matsuda, as well. Don't call him Eddie Baby, by the way.
Yeah. And we're hearing that Alexander Wirtz is due back into the pits. Excuse me, 47. That's Matsuda. As Lucas Di Grassi does the fastest 3rd sector of the race by a considerable margin as well.
There is, I think we're going to see some very quick laps in the next couple of minutes. The track is clearly coming back to the cars, and we're going to see, I think, some very quick laps. Lots and lots of fastest sectors for cars up and down the LMP1H. As we said, I say that Lucas Di Grassi does it again. Not able to match quite the pace of the Porsche in the first sector, but as we said earlier in the broadcast, One of the fascinating things about these cars is that they deliver very similar lap times, but in very different ways around the lap.
Yes.
And when the cars get into close contention, that spells fun.
What we're looking at now, of course, is 75 minutes, where everybody at the front of the field has at least one pit stop to make.
And Sebastian Buemi clearly
That's
getting ready.
interesting. What's he got under his hands device there? Is that where he keeps his... Was he
Cool.
blowing
Is it
that
cool?
up there, or was he...
It could be cool. Could be keeping. Bear in mind what we've had big.
Yeah.
It might well be a cool suit.
I haven't seen that before.
I don't recall seeing it before.
Some kind of collar underneath the hands device. If anybody knows, at Specutainment, or...
It did look like the kind of thing on Ryanair where you get a light and a whistle, didn't it?
At Specutainment, or at DSC editor. Here is Anthony Davidson right on cue, as we expected, and he will lose the position to the number 1 Audi, which is coming round the penultimate corner now, as Anthony's in the pit lane, and there, indeed, coming around the final corner now is the number 1 Audi of Luca Di Grassi. He's put a decent lap together there, goes through, and he takes 3rd position. Brendan Hartley, no, he's
about a half a lap back,
yeah.
But is pushing very hard.
Yeah.
It's an impressive series of laps being put together by the young Kiwi.
Now, I didn't see that. Did Anthony get out? They're looking like they're installing someone else.
I think he did.
Louise telling us yes. Anthony has been replaced. A new set of Michelin slicks to go on without the little white marks on them. So those are slicks rather than treadless intermediates.
Couple of updates meanwhile. The Ligier's back out on track after its problems earlier. So it's lost time. It's that usual, just fires away, doesn't it, from a pit stop?
As
silently.
Nick Damon always calls it milk float power when it goes out, because it sort of
might be milkshake.
But it's
unbelievable.
It's like something from Star Wars, isn't it? You hear the whine of it going away, and then the explosion, the cacophony of the V8 engine bursting into life as if a rocket motor has been fired, and it really does sound like something that is from science fiction. It was Anthony Davidson has stayed aboard, according to timing and scoring, the number 8, but he did get a new set of tyres.
That's very odd, isn't it? Bearing in mind we know the driver was ready.
Well, sometimes, as you said earlier, they do get
he's
waved away.
Used to the conditions. Maybe just a drinks bottle. Number 1 Audi completes another lap. 90 seconds down on the leader now.
In the classes, Christian Poulsen is back at the head of the Armfield for Aston Martin.
But that will be with pit stops, I think.
No, they've done 4. And Bachler has done 4. Mark Wachowski's done 3. So Ozus won in 3rd position, and Christoph Nygaard has done 4 as well.
Something odd there, because that 88 car had nearly a lap's advantage, I think.
Well, they've had a much longer pit stop.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Poulsen's done a very short stop, 48 seconds. That's excellent. That's fuel only.
That will be to put them in the window.
Yeah, I agree.
They've done that for track position, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Bachler last stop at 1 minute 30. So coming down to the last 70 minutes.
In fact, both the GTM
Aston's did exactly the same time. That's a time stop. Correct.
So they're putting themselves right in the window.
So is that a stint and a bit for those drivers then, and then they'll put a new driver and a new set of tyres on for the charge at the end?
Well, strategy coming into play up and down the timing and scoring list now. Yellow, meanwhile, at the final turn. Someone's had a whoopsie just outside the window we can't see out of, John. It's dark and the curtains are closed. It's the number 90 car, stranded on the outside of the turn, trying to restart the car.
Jeff Siegel.
Jeff Siegel
in the Ferrari. The man from Philadelphia needs to... No, I'm not even going to do the put. Don't worry.
Don't do any Jonathan Livingston jokes. Or
No, I was going to do Philadelphia Freedom, but I'm not going to.
I usually go
I'll
with
wave
soft
that
cheese.
one off as well. Far too cheesy. So the 61 of Mark Machochi now, right in the wheel tracks of Christopher Nygaard. That is a battle for position.
That's Nygaard's gone ahead. And that was, I'm afraid, it looks like Jeff Siegel just ran wide over... Ooh!
Well, he's done very well there not to hit anything or be hit by anyone.
And he clearly reversed back off the track there, didn't he?
Well,
To get out of the way.
Well, you would, wouldn't you?
I would.
Right, don't move, don't move. At this point, oh, that's the KCMG car, isn't it?
No, it's not, that's the ASM car.
It's the ESM car, yes, you're right.
He didn't reverse,
No,
I'm
he
afraid.
drove the wrong way.
He went against the... I think he's in trouble for that.
Yes, he might well be.
He drove against traffic.
At that point, what you're doing is frantically looking for a marshal.
Help, help, help.
To give you a steer on whether to move or not. And our fabulous volunteers around the circuit would have their eyes peeled. And what they're doing is watching for you to make eye contact with them. It's really, really interesting. In comes the Audi number 2.
Out goes the Audi number 2.
Out comes the Audi number 2, sorry, of Marcel Fessler.
And Brendan Hartley now on pit lane as well from 5th. Fessler, 56 seconds, loses the lead, of course, to Mark Lee. But not by much.
Now, Fessler needs about 15 minutes of fuel, I think. So that's about a quarter of a tank. So the choice now is whether he empties the tank and puts a tiny bit in at the end, or whether he drives for 15 minutes, refills, and goes to the end.
Yep. And that's going to be determined by track position.
Ooh.
This is the number 20 car.
Yeah.
This is Brendan Hartley.
Yes. Why am I hearing noise?
Might be a fan. Might be a
Oh.
fan. Well, they're trying to... No, they can't be trying to stop.
No, they can't do anything with it.
It's not a cooling fan.
I wonder if it was the sound. Is that what wheel guns sound like inside the car?
That's actually what Brendan Hartley sounds like at rest.
Yeah. He was just recharging his own batteries. Out goes the 919 hybrid for Porsche.
Brendan, the only driver in the WEC that is running a brand new helmet design, which includes a hairdryer.
Yep, that's right. He's very particular about his coiffure. Let's have another look at Jeff Siegel. Just got on over the edge of the curve of the AstroTurf.
Not where the AstroTurf was.
Yes, it's now been
that might well have been the problem
removed. And here comes the ASM car now. You can just see the headlights pulling off to one side here. That's Ed Brown, isn't it, that's in that? He did a pretty good job there, Ed, because he was a bit unsighted. And, oh, where's all the debris come from? On the track.
Well,
I didn't see any damage. Is that what was underneath the AstroTurf?
Probably.
He's pulled something up.
Probably tiles.
It's hardboard or tiles or something, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
The slight problem with that, as I recall, didn't we have some bolts involved at some points?
Yeah.
Which needed to be removed at Silverstone under caution. James Roster. Let's pick up James for a moment. Fastest lap of the Lotuses or the CLM's race. 2 minutes, 0.125. An idea there, that's 10 seconds slower than the fastest lap of the race, which went to Sebastian Buemi early on in the race.
Just looking at, in Europe, by the way, it's nearly 4 o'clock in the morning in the UK and 5 o'clock in the morning in Central Europe. So to all those fans who are watching, thank you very much. And also to Teresa Pass from Audi Sport. It's your birthday now in UK, so happy birthday, Teresa, from your loving daughter Sarah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Sarah won't be back from the club yet.
No, she won't have heard that.
Mum and Dad are away. There'll be a party at the Batter's house tonight.
Oh, yeah.
65 minutes remaining, and we're back down to 1.4 seconds for the lead gap.
Isn't it?
It is the number 14 Porsche of Mark Lieb, and he's trying to fend off, but struggling to do so, the ever closer attentions of Mr. Marcel Fessler. Briefly had a bit of a rear gunner there for the Porsche from one of the factory GT cars rather. At 1.5 seconds the gap. Lucas de Grassi a further 40 seconds or so back. Sebastian Buemi, now he made that pit stop, is a further minute away from the lead. These are the 4 cars on the lead lap. And this is a lead battle right now as we approach the final hour of the 6 hours of the Circuit of the Americas. It will be interesting to hear what the local fans think of racing in the dark. Sports cars just have that magic. Lots of noise, lots of traffic, lots of drama, and you're never sure till the very end exactly how these things are going to turn out.
Right, let's go on board with Marcel Fesler, or at least hear what he's got to say to the pit wall.
Marcel, that Porsche is for position. That Porsche is for position.
Well, in fact, it was Lena Ginn talking to Marcel Fesler and telling him that the car ahead
is not a Toyota.
Yes, indeed. The car ahead is for position, and in fact, it's for the lead.
Indeed.
This is the battle for the lead. Lena on top of the situation as ever. There's that noise again, just before braking. It's that they're getting the beep in the helmet for the lift and coast, aren't they?
It's flutter, 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 isn't it? It isn't a stop.
He's having a go.
That's not the. That's the. 26
He's got to get by here.
That's the 26 car, John.
Yeah, he's got to get by the 26 to get onto the back of the leader. Roman Ruzinov needs to be very aware. There'll be blue flags and blue lights around the circuit and blinding lights, and he's still pulled in on him. See, that is poor driving. You open the door like that, that looks like you're giving the guy behind room, and then you can't then cut back again. You've got to hold a car's width away from the apex.
Yeah, Roman really wants to get out of the way here. He's not in this
Down
battle,
in the last corner.
or indeed any battle at the moment.
No. That is the worst thing you can do, and that frustrates the heck out of drivers. When you make it look like you're giving room and then you don't.
That's cost a full second to the chasing Swiss. Could have been worse, actually.
Yeah, it could have been much worse. He was fairly circumspect, was Marcel, when he came up behind him. There is the number 30 of Ed Brown, who is catching Tsunoda Matsuda.
No, he's just been caught by and passed by Matsuda. He has, yeah, just in the last lap. Ed's just lost a little bit of pace over the last couple of laps. Matsuda recovering from that half spin when
be annoyed with himself about that.
Absolutely, when the lead loomed. It's a lead they really wanted to take. They needed to make up ground in the championship to that car. He will be kicking himself, but Matsuda, the 47, the KCMG car, is back up into second position. There's some damage to the back of that.
Yes.
It's on the left-hand side. I wonder if that occurred in that incident we saw with Jeff Siegel, the legality panel missing.
Somebody ran up the back of Ed Brown, and that is the debris. There you go. Well done, CSI COTA. By the way, the CLM has posted a 1:59.785. That's his fastest lap of the night, of the day, in the hands of James Rossiter.
That, by the way, will also explain why, of course, Ed Brown's pace has dropped off. Klaus Bachler, by the way, back into the lead in GT-AM. And going very quickly, faster than ever, in fact, in this race for the number 88 Porsche 911 RSR, 207.434 for that car. That's too rich for Christian Poulsen's blood at the moment in the chasing 95 Aston Martin. Still, we believe, 27 cars running. We think we've lost the 75. No, we've not. It's back out and running. In fact, 75 car was delayed earlier after having run second in the class. Is back out and running, and we'll wait and see whether or not we can see whether the 37 car, the more troubled of the two SMP racing cars, is still a long-term pit caller, as indeed is the 13 Rebellion. So yes, 27 of the 29 starters still running, and if in the conditions we had earlier in this race, John, that's pretty remarkable.
Some of the cars that were on the side of the track were pulled back onto the circuit to see if they could make their own way, as the rules have ever dictated. A couple of people asking about the lighting here as we move into the final hour. We'll talk about that in a moment.
Doesn't that look great?
Yeah, the lights of Austin Airport, just off to the right behind the tower there. Bergstrom Airport, beyond that, the outskirts of Austin itself. So we move into the final hour of racing. Mark Lieb by under 4 seconds. But this is the 92. Another Porsche. Patrick Pina leading GTE Pro with Darren Turner less than a second behind him. Watch out for the yellow lights of the Aston Martin popping out from behind. You can just see once in a while how the shadows change, and that's because Darren Turner is right in the wheel tracks of this Team Montai Porsche. Down towards turn number 11 before the back straight. Is Darren close enough to have a wee look? Well, that's back up to the other end of the racetrack.
He's almost close enough now to use the DRS he hasn't got, because we've got raw skill instead. But no
Super Mario flap here.
Absolutely not. No.
The groundsman is very particular about that.
No.
There's your leader of the race by 4 seconds now. Inside the final hour with Marcel Fessler in the Audi chasing, and they are trading tenths of seconds after, well, not quite 5 hours of racing. There is Mark Lieb. Great to see, by the way. I mean, we've said this before in our Le Mans commentary, but good to see that Mark Lieb was called up from the GT squad into the prototypes. Right. I think it was the right decision. I think he certainly proved his worth.
Intelligent move from Porsche.
Yeah.
They could just so easily have taken a completely different tack, but actually bringing in Wisehead on Porsche shoulders and great engineering knowledge.
Yes. He's an engineering graduate, isn't he?
I think. I'm trying to think. Did he get his doctorate?
I think he may have. Yeah. And that is in the great spirit of driver engineers that Porsche already have. Well, as you can see at 4:59 on the clock there, we'd just clicked over and they got the race underway. And at the beginning, it was all about the front of the field and the Works hybrids, with number 7 getting a little love tap there, but Alex Wurz was very quick earlier on. Looked like the tyres might have gone as early as 13 laps, but he managed to hold on to it. And then the battle between the two Volkswagen Audi Group brands of Audi and Porsche, which at the early part of the race seemed to be going in Audi's direction. Aston Martin, Ferrari, Porsche all led the GTE category. Sebastian Buemi with 36 seconds. He lost 13 of them in this spin. Again, struggling with grip at the back. And then the defining moment of the race, maybe. Well, let's hope it wasn't. A big rainstorm that saw Mike Conway get away with it. Timo Bernhard inexplicably put onto slick tyres by his team. The Audi's got the tyre choice right and pretty much gained a lap on the rest of the field, apart from the number 14 Porsche, which just about managed to stay out of the gravel in the kitty litter, which many didn't. On the restart, it became clear that getting back on the lead lap was absolutely imperative for the number 8 Toyota, and Nicolas Lapierre was pretty mighty in those early laps. Darren Turner in the 97 Aston Martin had survived the worst of the weather and gained a number of laps on the field by staying out, even though he was on slick tyres. And then it became this fascinating battle that's been toing and froing. Two Toyotas side by side. And all of a sudden, the pendulum and the advantage that was Audi's earlier on in the race went with it. Really very impressive call to go on to Inters at the restart by the 14 car. Matsuda spinning away second place in class, but he's fought back to it. Inter-Nissan rivalry between the two Audis, and then the mistake over the pyramid. That was a real shame for the 26 car, which had been having a good run for their right rear suspension breakage. A number of people getting the final corner wrong, including Jeff Siegel, which I'm sure we'll see in a moment. Number 91 car failed to start for a moment. Nick Tandy on board. That let the 92 Porsche through into the lead. Nick Tandy, by the way, circulating now, but down in 4th place and laps down. And then it was the luckless Tom Christensen, seemed to be on the wrong tyres all of the time. He's dropped back to Lucas Di Grassi now in that car, but lapping very quickly. Di Grassi's just done a 50.7. There's Jeff Spiegel spinning. Now watch behind here. Maybe we get the chance. Here it is. And he did get the thump on the left rear.
But not from the Aston Martin. It was another car going through at full speed. That could have been a lot worse, John.
Yeah, and that was Ed Brown at the wheel of the ESM car who got the left rear legality panel broken off, and that was the debris at the edge that we saw a couple of cars picking up. I thought it looked like a sheet of hardboard, but it was clearly a sheet of carbon fibre.
Ed, utterly blameless there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He did exactly the right thing.
While you've been rounding that up, we've been seeing some extremely quick lappery from Lucas Di Grassi. He's closing in rapidly on Marcel Fessler. 150.782 last time around from the Brazilian. That's just 0.3 off the fastest lap of the race, still in a bone-dry track, of course, in full daylight. 36 seconds now away from Mark Lee with 54 minutes remaining, and he has not given up this race yet for the #1 Audi. The battle, by the way, and we're looking at it right now, this is the lead battle in GTE Pro. It's Darren Turner looking to go left, looking to go right, up into turn 1. Can he make it stick?
So this massive GTE battle goes down into the S's. This could be the battle of the race so far. We'll keep an eye on the timing screen. Sergei Zlobin is down in the pit lane with Louise.
Sergei, you're keeping a close eye on the battle that's happening on the screen. It's good going into this last hour.
No, listen.
Last hour, and you're still in the lead.
One more, please. I know, listen.
Going into the last hour, you're still leading at the moment.
Now we have first position, and normally only one pit stop. Normally we save this, if no problem. But now clutch not good very well. Need start with starter. But
Okay, thank you.
sorry.
Not Sergei's fault there. Sergei actually doesn't have very good hearing, having survived a car bombing.
Yes, that's right.
So Sergei, the reason he's significant, of course, is he is the championship leader. But unfortunately couldn't hear Louise in what's a very noisy pit lane.
And we've missed nothing. We've missed absolutely nothing. No. It's as you were, as Darren Turner tries to regain the position he had earlier on in that Aston Martin. And ahead of him and holding him back at the moment is Patrick Paley. Now we know that the Porsche has got a little bit more in terms of the fuel, but I think these guys have both got one more stop to make.
You may well be right, which might make the speed at which that fuel goes in critical. It could be down to a second here, John. Just goes to show here, looking at Darren Turner. Darren doesn't go home, by the way, we should tell people. He spends his entire life behind the wheel of a simulator, base performance. Something like 23 and a half hours a day. He does take half an hour off for tea and biscuits between 4 and 4:30. But other than that, is a true full-time racing driver. He does another look up the inside of the 92 car into turn 1. Can't make that work. He's still right there in the wheel tracks, though. This is great stuff. This is proper GT racing. Through that sweeping left-right complex of the SMP car, the 27 car. Just talking to Sergei Zlobin a moment ago, in for fuel. We'll keep an eye on what's going on with the Patrick Pilet Darren Turner battle. Still, at the moment, the Porsche in the lead. Oh, bit of a mix-up there.
Oh, and he's lost the spare wheel. It's gone pinging down the pit lane off to the left of the picture here, and someone in a blue suit is going to have to go and get that back. I do like the head torch. Head torches are great, aren't they? You know, they're not going to be the fastest pit stop in the world, but they're doing it carefully and making sure that all the wheels are on.
That's the important bit. They did make a bit of a haul to the first part of it. It's the #1 car. Lucas Di Grassi has made a stop and is back out and running. That will be his final stop. And he stays aboard the car and will be the attack dog now sent out aboard the number 1 to do what he can about the cars ahead, in particular the lead car, the 14 Porsche. Apply pressure, continue to apply pressure. And let's see what comes out in the closing minutes of this race. 49 minutes remaining, still here. We've got this head-to-head, toe-to-toe, and any other part of the anatomy you can actually bring into play. Battle in GTE Pro between Patrick Pilet in the 92 Porsche ahead here. Darren Turner, yet again. He's going to have another look. Is he going to go inside, outside? Outside this time. And he's going to do it. He's going to do it.
Oh, he's got the right hand coming up, and that will make it happen for him as he goes down through the yeses. He didn't make it easy for himself. He did that the hard way, and that is a way to take the lead of the race as Aston Martin gets back ahead of Porsche Team Montai.
Absolutely fantastic move there from Darren Turner. He tried up the inside 3 times in succession. Pilet covered that. Darren was ready for it. I think he sold him a dummy there and was ready for the outside move. Wheel-to-wheel stuff up the back of turn 1. Stand by your beds, the boss is here.
Yeah, we're going to have to get him to tell us who the scriptwriter is again, because once again they've done a cracking job. We'll pass the headset over to Gerard Neveu, the man who is the head of the team that puts this together. Gerard, I know that you'll be the first one to say that this is a team effort for not only on the track but around the circuit and the organisation, as well as your team within the WEC as well.
Yeah, it's a great event, incredible. If you compare with last year, and the storyboard of what's happened on the track is something absolutely unbelievable.
And everybody stayed despite the rain and the red flag.
Yeah, I think that we have to discuss that to analyze exactly why the race director decided to do that. It was something very surprising, but the traffic was very, very strong on the track, so it was very confused. And sometimes for security and safety especially,
no, I think
it
was
the right decision.
I think it was good.
But
and Eduardo once again followed the rules to the letter.
Yeah, and it permits to many cars to rejoin finally the grid and to restart the race, which is better than to lose the car in the gravel beds.
And we've seen it before. Lewis Hamilton in Germany stayed in his car when he was craned off the ground. I seem to remember some years ago. I think that was back in 2008, if I remember. We've got this battle at the head of the field, which seems to have been going on. Sometimes we look down to P2 or to the GTs. Today it has been the works, the factory teams battling right at the head of the field, and we've got Mark Lieb and Marcel Fessler separated by less than a second at the moment. These are 3 teams with 3 very different solutions, but the regulations allow them to race together. You must be very proud.
Yeah, absolutely. The technical regulation provided by the ACO playing with the FI is something very incredible. And we thought that from the qualifying session with more than 5 cars in the same seconds, it was absolutely amazing. And now it's still working like this for the race. Imagine just 1 second gap after something like 5 hours of race. It's absolutely amazing. And included in the very strange condition we had today with the storms, with the fact that there is many different things not previous on the schedule happen for different teams. And it's very interesting to see that Porsche is leading. It means that, and Audi made a great job also during the summer to make sure that they can rejoin the performance of Toyota. But we saw also in LMP2 many different leaders today during the race.
Yes. I think everybody in P2 has actually led the race. Yes, correct. I think that's so. Correct. 5 out of the top 6 hybrids in the works teams have led the race as well. Are we coming back here? Can you give us, I don't expect any trade secrets, but the viewers want to know. We know we're going to get a full calendar, we hope, at Fuji, but are we coming back here?
From your point of view?
Yeah? Come on.
Sure. I think that what we did in Austin was to just try to build an event. Last year we were skeptic, sometimes not very happy, but this year totally changed, totally different, nothing to compare. A very good cooperation between Tudor United Sport Car Championship and COTA Circuit of the Americas. We received a very great welcome, fantastic organization today.
And it's worked with the 2 different series. Everybody said, you're mad to put them on one day, but come on. It's been perfect.
This is what the position we defend during the winter. We say that we can race together and on the same days, and all the staff made a great job to remove the pit wall between the 2 races. And I think that for the fan, and this is very important, for the American fan we are looking for, they really enjoy a full endurance day, Spirit of Le Mans. They had 2 fantastic races with the fireworks, with the concert, with the village, with the autograph session, full package in one day. And for sure we will be back next year here. That's the plan.
And big news today from Ed Brown and ESM that they're coming to Shanghai with 2 cars. And have you been able to persuade them to tell you that they'll do a full season for WD? They want to go to Le Mans, of course, and I said to Scott Sharp, easiest way to go to Le Mans, Scott, sign your name and do the whole WEC.
John, you're like a fox. You want to know everything before all the press communication and press release.
Pit lane for the leader. Yeah. So the leader changed again, and this is going to be, I think, the 9th change of lead. Hard on the brakes for Mark Lieb as he checks up to get down to 60 kilometres, 40 miles an hour into the pit lane. He can go to the end. He doesn't need to change, and this will be his last pit stop. So this. Now, tyres or no tyres, is there a new set of Michelins out there? The Montag Porsche team about to go to work, the Porsche Hybrid team. I don't see tyres there, fellas. I think this is a splash of petrol only, remember. New data card going in there, that's what you saw there, so that all of the information can be taken. There is not even the hint of tyres being offered. This is double stinting on the Porsche, and Mark Lieb waits for the wave off, and there he goes.
Oh, they're looking for the victory and they're fighting for that.
And it would be such a big story for Porsche in their comeback year, Mission 2014, our return for those guys to win. Fessler has gone through, he's got 1 more stop as well. And the first position in GTE Pro as Darren Turner ahead of Patrick Pilet. We saw that happen just a few moments ago. Patrick is Darren is driving away just a little bit. He took a couple of seconds out of Patrick Pilet. We saw the Porsche number 92 losing pace towards the end of its last stint as well. So now it's going to be who's got the fuel to the end from those 2. And Jimmy Bruni in the AF Corsa Ferrari in 3rd position. On board, Patrick Pilet sitting just to our left as he comes through the S's. The lighting here, Gerard, is great because there's enough for the guys to be safe, but it's still very evocative, and it's not full light like we have in Bahrain, but this is proper road racing light.
This is like we can have in some part of Le Mans, we find it Sebring or in Petit Le Mans in the United States. So it means that this is there not for the safety, but not too much, and the style of the driver is still very important to get the right trajectory and to anticipate the right position on the track. You can see that there is just 3 seconds between the two GT, which is absolutely amazing also.
And this battle that is at the head of the GT field, Fred Machiavicki just got out and is talking to Luis.
Fred, we can see the disappointment in your face. The Aston Martin's just getting advantage there.
Yeah, but it showed at the beginning of the race we saw that the Aston was really quick in the dry condition. We could do a difference when it was wet and damp, and we made a gap, but unfortunately now it's already dry and it's difficult for us.
Thank you.
So Fred not too happy with his old team, Aston Martin beating his new one. I see that Ed Brown's up into 3rd position, potentially on the podium, first time for that wild card HPD entry. We got interrupted by the leader coming in, and you thought you got away with this, Gerard Devaux alongside me. Are we going to see ESM in the whole of the WEC next year?
It's not the time to discuss about that now. But the only thing I don't think what do you mean about that, but they feel very good in the middle of the WEC grid, and they're doing a great job today. So I'm sure that there is a place for them on the grid. This is a very top team, and what Scott Sharp, Ed Brown are doing is amazing. So
does it send a message to other American prototype teams, whether they're racing with a Daytona prototype now or with the P2 now, that there is room for them and they can come here and be competitive?
When you are a top team, when you really enjoy the endurance, and when you have interest to do a world program, WEC is the best platform for sure. So HPD with this car from Extreme Speed is doing a great experience today at home in their own garden, They will do it again with Shanghai this year with 2 LMP2, which is very exciting. And after that, we will see. But for sure, there is no doubt that this team feels very good in the middle of the world grid now with the World Championship.
Yeah, and it's good to have a strong American series. The World Championship exists because we have a very strong European Le Mans series. We have the Tudor United Sports Car Series. These are not competitors. This is what you need to survive as a World Championship.
Absolutely, and when we are visiting and coming in USA, it's such important to have American team, to have American manufacturers, to have American drivers, just to make the right interest. We have a lot of fans in United States, and it's always a big pleasure to be here. We're just missing for American drivers, so all the top team are welcome with the driver here.
And Corvette, that was very. Now again, are you trying to persuade those guys? We haven't had a Corvette in its current form in the WEC.
You know very well the story and the link between Corvette and Le Mans and the endurance.
Massive.
So when we don't have the yellow car on the grid, we miss this car and this brand and the spirit. So to see Doug Fian and this car on the paddock this weekend is very good things for all of us, no doubt.
His quote to us was, the WEC would fill a lot of voids for GM and their racing programme. That must excite you.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. Right, excellent. Gerard, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We still have not written the headline yet. I don't think this is over.
I hope so, but the only thing I can tell you is I'm watching the app, I'm following all the live since the beginning of the race. Guys, you are doing a fantastic job. You are the voice of WEC. Go ahead, we have a fantastic season until the end.
Thank you very much. Gerard Devaux with us, and nice to have all of our guests this evening. We move into the final 38 minutes and look at some of the action from the pits. Let me run you down some times because it's all starting to heat up. The GT action, also the Pro action. I'll tell you what we'll do before we do that. Let's head down to Louise. She's with Andre Lotterer. I can see him standing ready, and Louise looking far more comfortable than she did in the rain.
Andre, so can you make it to the end without stopping?
Unfortunately not. We're going to have to do a very short splash in the end.
Okay, thank you.
He wasn't great, was he? That wasn't the sparkling character we used to. We've seen a change there, by the way.
We have. The Lucas de Grassi has lost third position while you've been talking to Gerard there. In a brilliant form as always to Sebastian Buemi. Sebastian Buemi in the number 8 Toyota up to third position. So Audi from Porsche from Toyota now. We wait for that final pit stop from the number 2 Audi, but it's making up ground, John, over a minute to the good now for the number 2 car. And of course they'll be doing a time fuel stop now, so the longer they can go, the shorter that pit stop should be, unless they need tyres. And we know that car can double stint tyres.
Yeah, that's very true. I find this fascinating, that it's 50 seconds between first and second in P2. Tsudo Matsuda and Nick Manassian unable at the moment to take time out of the 47 SMP car. Turner and Pilet and Bruni separated by less than a minute, and in fact first two still by under 6 seconds. Christian Reed in the 88 and Porsche just pulled away, as in some 6th place Alex Wirtz. What's this going to do to the championship, actually? We need to think about that, because the Toyotas haven't gone well.
This is going to put Audi into the lead of the Manufacturers' Championship if it stays this way. There's only 2 points the difference. It is going to close down the lead for the Drivers' Championship. I think it's something like 20 points to the good at the moment. The number 8 Toyota crew over the number 2 Audi squad. It was 21 points, of course, because of the pole position. So if it stays this way, John, that'll close that gap by a full 10 points. It'll half the gap. It's exactly what Audi would have been looking for.
I should say, by the way, when I said about Lewis Hamilton getting pulled out the gravel, it was 2007. Thank you to the people who corrected me on that.
You still care?
Yeah, well, no, it's important to get these things.
It is absolutely.
I should have learned my lesson years ago and never mentioned the year. Just said, do you remember a few years ago when he got pulled out by the Snatch tractor? Yeah, and the last pit stops are going to be crucial here. They really are. It's going to decide the race.
Well, the lead gap, John, is 63 seconds as we look at the timing and scoring screens right now. Marcel Fessler, 63 seconds up on Mark Lieb. We're waiting for what we think could be a fuel-only stop, but Marcel is on a second stint with those tyres. It was a fuel-only stop last time around for Marcel, so they're going to have to stretch it with those tyres. Can they last? They're going to have to, I think, if he's going to have to stop in it any time very soon. He is taking time consistently out of Mark Lieb, lap by lap now. The gap is going out, and going out quite quickly at the moment. So a crucial period of the race. Darren Turner, by the way, now on pit lane from the lead in GTE Pro. So another crucial stop. So this is going to be a period which is going to determine a whole lot in terms of winners, losers, podium finishers, point scorers, all the important stuff in the FIWEC. 33 minutes to go. And what do we know?
So much can happen in half an hour.
And not only can, will.
Be surprised if it doesn't. It's been a quiet but reasonable run for the number 12. The 13 has had its problems for rebellion. Matthias Pesch now at the wheel, 7th position, had 7 laps off the lead. You know, if there's one thing I would point to here and say that still needs a bit of tweaking, it is the balance between the hybrid cars at the front of the field with the huge budgets and the privateer cars.
There is one fastest lap of the race going now to Sebastian Buemi. Sebastian Buemi on his lap. What lap is that? He's just done, where are we? Lap 138, 150.390. It's the same car, improves the fastest lap time, but on opposite ends of the race, we had a quick spin, by the way, for the Car 25, the Pro Speed competition car. So Buemi looking to get onto terms with Mark Lieb, under 20 seconds back now, but I think owes us a splash before the end in the number 8 car. It's all about pressure. Really very close indeed at the moment. The cars second, third and fourth overall separated by less than 30 seconds with 32 minutes remaining, John. Patrick Pilet, of course, back through into the lead, but we think owes us a fuel stop as well. It is another 48-second stop for the Aston Martin racing team. Whatever else they're doing, that's enormous consistency.
Yeah, that's very true. Now, Fessler has got enough fuel to go to lap 149. That's 10 more laps. The problem is, we're projecting a 157 lap race here. It is time certain, remember.
The key, as we see Ligier duck out the way and get out the way of a flying factory car. The key is whether or not he can stretch his tyres that far. 1 minute and 7 seconds is the gap. It is still coming out, but even more critically, the gap. Oh, as we see the 20 Porsche launch over the curbs.
That's Brendan Hartley.
It is.
And that was turn 11. That's a weird place to get it wrong.
That could well have done some damage. That was over one of the evil orange pyramids. And that could well have actually caused some woes for the number 20 car, currently running in 5th position. We'll keep an eye on times there for Brendan. He has been flying. Unfortunately, he did it literally there. The times to watch here are going to be, well, it's the top 5 overall, and it's the top 2 or 3 in GTE Pro. Darren Turner, by the way, came out from that latest pit stop still ahead of Jimmy Bruni. About a minute ahead. And is beginning to pack away at Patrick Pilet's advantage. So we'll keep an eye on it. I'm pretty certain that Patrick owes us a final splash and dash as well.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I think, well, his last pit stop was a 1 minute 20, so that was a full stop and tyres. Darren Turner just went for fuel, no tyres. And Darren's just been in, hasn't he?
He has.
Well, Darren's fuelled to the end, and I think Pilet is as well. I think Pele might be able to get in from there because of the Porsche. Jimmy Bruni is fueled to the end.
Into the last half hour now.
So the question is, can Darren Turner make up 30-odd seconds? We did see Pele, we have seen Pele, haven't we, struggle with pace to the end of the runs.
Yes, we have.
As if there's the balance of the car goes away.
Sebastian Buemi, meanwhile, is continuing to hack away at Mark Lieb's advantage, but we think that Buemi owes us at least a quick splash for fuel. 10 seconds now, the gap, and 10 seconds too, the gap behind him to Di Grassi. So 20 seconds now separates second, third and fourth. As into pits comes Brendan Hartley. He's out of the car. Driver change there.
And that would be one Mark Webber getting in
to complete the race. Now, are they going to have a look at this car?
Yeah, Brendan hasn't told them. Is everything all right? Yeah, fine. Did you hit anything?
Yeah.
No,
No.
never. Not a thing. Now, the lighting inside these cars, you see the little blue glow there? Absolutely, massively important. Because
no attention to anything on the car.
No, I saw that.
What required?
And the reason I'm saying that is because these cars are so complicated. You've heard us talk about this before when we're on RadioLeMans.com. And by the way, if you're able to, listen on Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, Midweek Motorsport. We have a huge exclusive sports car story.
Oh, you do.
And
you do.
I mean massive. And you'll be the first to know if you tune in at 8 o'clock UK time on Wednesday night. RadioLeMans.com. We've talked about how complicated the interiors of these cars are. Harry Tinknell talking about his running the Audi R18. First time, I think, by the way, that's been made public.
That's never been mentioned before, and he really shouldn't have said that. I'll tell you why. Because I had the exclusive on that for next Thursday.
Yeah. So Harry Tinknell admits to a 4-lap run in an R18. A number of other journalists got to go as, or a number of journalists got to go as well. It was Mazzano, wasn't it?
No, this is something rather different. I think you'll be reading this in some depth in a very high-quality monthly magazine.
Okay.
Good evening, Damien.
Right. So he was testing for motorsport. I see. The complexity of the systems that the drivers have to operate. Not just steer the car, change gear, brake, turn in at the right place, but the way they have to manage the systems means that they are forever making small changes on the steering wheel and other buttons, and they have to be able to see that and see what they're hitting and what they're doing. Now, of course, the screen is backlit, so that's not a problem, and you've got a dimmer switch on that. But I know Porsche in particular were having great trouble, talking to Mark Webber about this, getting the balance right between having enough light in the car and that you saw above Mark's head, to get the balance right between seeing what was going on and basically blowing your night vision. Right, let's get back to the
battle for second
place, and this is Mark Lieb and Seb Buemi fighting back.
And this is going to go the way of the Toyota, unless something goes horribly wrong.
Either side, and Buemi takes the shortcut down the inside, rides the curbs and gets it done, and completely mugs Mark Lieb, who did the more conservative approach. Surely thought Toyota wouldn't take the chance, and Buemi rolled the dice as the Ed car has been doing this since, well, I remember Buemi had a 36-second lead, and then after the race they dropped a lap. They have fought back onto the lead lap through pure pace, and Buemi goes by into second place now, and he's 1 minute 18.5 seconds away from the lead.
But does he need to pit, John? We've got 25 minutes of the race remaining. I think he still needs fuel, but it was a very, very, very good move. He saw the opportunity. He knew he couldn't go to the outside. Lieb had got that covered. Placed the car in case he could see up the inside there. Did it beautifully. And actually, kudos to there for Ed Brown for just keeping his line, staying out of the way as best he possibly could, and allowing that move to go ahead and happen.
Well, the result is in on the Patrick Pillay situation. He should be into the pits anytime soon. I was expecting him on his lap 127, and he's already done that and one more. So the 92 Porsche due in any time, I'm told by the Wizard of Walking.
Which means the pendulum swings again in Banbury's direction, and Darren Turner should retake the lead of this race. It's been a very good run indeed for the 97 car. It's been a great run too, by the way, from the 92. Patrick Pillay, oddly enough, particularly when battling away with his teammates, has just looked epic this weekend.
And Buemi, as you rightly thought, will need a splash. He has to come in 4 laps time. So keeping him up to date.
Let's watch just what happens in terms of pace, because I feel that Mark Lieber's got a problem, because his lap times have gone right out.
Oh yeah, they are 4 seconds off the pace,
and
more.
And not the first time he's done that. 57, 58 the last couple of laps, I think.
He's only got 5 seconds back to Luca Di Grassi,
who is closing at 7 seconds a lap. I think Mr. Lieb may be running with a bit of an issue here.
Unless he's trying to stretch to the end and save a stop.
It's possible. But knowing, as he's
lost 2,
the Buemi has to pit.
He's lost a huge amount of time now. He's lost 7 seconds to Buemi. The last stint of Buemi is going to be worth watching, isn't it? Because he's going to come out with just enough fuel to get to the end and totally fired up.
And the man who holds the fastest lap of the race led this race, of course, by 38 seconds before that half spin. That cost him about a third of that advantage. And then Toyota not getting the best of the weather luck or strategy calls.
We're now predicting the race distance at 157 laps.
13 laps remaining then.
And 5 laps to go for Fessler before we expect him to pit.
He's got enough. Unless this is going to come down to no mistakes.
Well, if he's got enough, he needs to come in now. Actually, do you know what he'll do? He'll wait till Buemi comes in and he'll come in the lap after. That's what he'll do.
So, going through the classes, we've
who's
seen
that coming out? That's Pillay. Pillay coming out of the pit lane. Sorry, didn't see that on the timing screen.
46 seconds. So, a couple of seconds quicker than the Aston Martin in the pits. But the Aston Martin was only 40 seconds down the road.
Yeah, well, Darren's already gone through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The question is, how much has he got? The answer is 4 seconds at the first split.
Meantime, we've also seen pit from the lead in LMP2 for Matsuda, the 47, KCMG, Orica, and I think Nick Minasian would have retaken the lead with that.
Yeah.
This is going to be pretty fascinating stuff in a couple of these classes, the point situation, John.
Has Bruni got to pit again? He's only 40 odd seconds as Buemi does the fastest last sector of the race. He's coming in shortly, isn't he? We know he has to.
I think you're going to see
this last 20 minutes is going to be fascinating, because the leading pair have got to pit again.
Well, there's
Mark Lieb's just lost position, by the way.
Yep.
Unseen by us.
Still in the 59s.
Di Grassi has gone through. This surely he can't be saving. He only did fuel last time around.
It's too slow. It's too slow and it's too far out for this to simply be down to saving fuel. You wouldn't willingly give up, would you, 6 or 7 seconds a lap over 20 minutes? That's not enough to save the time that you would otherwise lose in putting fuel in the car. Now we're getting to the point where of the runners in every class seeing what there is to be won in this last 21 minutes.
This is like the last 3 hours of Le Mans, isn't it? You get to this position and say, what have I got to gain or lose by hammering the car?
Absolutely right. And the 4 principal targets for this particular Enigma are the top 4 cars here. There are positions on the podium and the win to be won or lost on track or in the pits. As we see a bit of drama here, is this will be the change in position between Di Grassi and Lieb. Poor Mark Lieb has lost 2 positions in the last 3 laps.
Oh, well, hang on. He got squeezed by the Aston. That's twice he's had a car at exactly the same part of the circuit. The irony there is he tried to go down the Buemi line and got squeezed.
He's not going to be a happy bunny, is he?
He's going to be looking for the mirror that he cracked this morning, isn't he?
Oh dear. Meanwhile, Matsuda does retain the lead in LMP2, but it's now going to be Matsuda versus Manassian, M&M. To the end of this race.
Ed Brown's come out in third position. Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich looking reasonably sanguine about the whole affair. Oh, Heindhoff's talking about me, he says I better take me here.
That's his best side. Yeah. It's okay. In GT Pro,
Buemi
does exactly what we said.
Quick lap. There's the leader going through. Marcel Fessler climbs the hill for his 146th time. And there is the answer to the question. We're kind of giving you that anyway. That will be for the number 8. This is Buemi, and there is the confirmation. Pick number 8 on the fuel rig.
I wouldn't bet against a purple sector 2 here either, John. I think you're going to get a quick lap, whether or not this is an in-lap. It's Sebastian Buemi, for me, has been one of the absolute drivers of the race. He made that one big mistake that lost him a third of an enormous lead he'd built up at that stage.
Ryan DL for me.
But his pace has been spectacular.
I want to say Ryan DL, Richie Stanaway, Darren Turner. Those are my drivers of the race. Not that we have any say in that. Over on RadioLeMans.com, I know they'll be looking for the spirit of the race, and I think the spirit of the race here goes, and I think this is an easy one, actually, the spirit of the race. I think it's ESM.
Well, you know what? I think they've come with the right spirit. They've had fun, which is a great thing to actually be able to say about a professional.
Did you see the smile on Scott Sharp's face?
Absolutely. No, and the same has been true of Ed Brown all weekend. They went seamlessly from we're taking a look to we're committing in the space of 48 hours.
Yep.
Meantime, another lead change, and this time it's on track, and it's Pedro Lamy in the 98 Aston Martin goes ahead of Christian Reed as the number 8 Toyota.
He had 16 seconds, Graham. He's not going to keep this. De Grassi doesn't have to stop again. He's going to the end. Bit of debris there just on the entrance to the pit lane. You can see in the darkness. Here comes Lucas de Grassi to take second place. It's an Audi 1-2 now, as he's gone across the line and climbs the hill. And there, in the right-hand side of the picture, you can see the bright white headlights, and we've got game on for second place.
This is going to be critical in championship terms, because Audi want to do what they
Lieb's
can.
Gone through. Lieb's gone through as well. He's going to have to get past, albeit an ailing Mark Lieb, but he's going to have to get past the Porsche again.
And he's going to want to in points terms as well, not just for the podium, but for in points terms as well. This is going to be a spectacular last quarter of an hour.
Okay, we're going to shut up now because we just want to watch this, and if you just watch it. Look, no, I'm only kidding, because this is going to be absolutely brilliant. Marcel Fessler leads the motor race. The battle is between de Grassi, Lieb and Buemi. 2 of those 3 will stand on the podium. Which 2?
Right, that's your LMP1. LMP2, we've got Nick Manassian beginning to close in now on Matsuda for the lead of LMP2. That gap, 3.2 seconds after 5 3/4 hours. In GTE Pro, the gap is a mighty 6 seconds after with Jimmy Bruni looking to close in on the second place car as well. And that's doable with a problem or 2. And then in GTE Am, the lead battle there, Pedro Lamy just gone to the front ahead of Christian Reed. That battle, 1.9 seconds, and the battle to third, 10 seconds, and that's Richie Stanaway closing in fast. That looks like being an Aston Martin 1-2 if he goes to pace at the moment. There is going to be at least one major change for a podium position in the next 10 minutes, John.
In each of the classes?
Quite possibly.
And we've got 16 minutes to go. Here's the first of the change for the podium positions in each of the 4 classes, as Buffalo Gals round the outside for Buemi. Part 1 done. Tick it off. Mark Lieb's got nothing for him. His last 4 or 5 laps have all been in the 57s, 58s or 59s. That is an ailing Porsche.
I think he's got a hybrid problem. I think he's just not got the ponies, has he?
Big smile on the faces of the Toyota guys. Porsche will not win this motor race. They still have to break their duck and get their maiden victory in 2014. The words learning year are not in the lexicon of Porsche, and whilst they have said that this was indeed going to be the first year of the championship, they stood on the podium at their first race at Silverstone with one of the cars, of course.
Pole position, of course, at Spa.
They led Le Mans, although they didn't really have the result they wanted, but fair play to them. And by the way, some respect given by their major competitors for hanging around getting one of the cars out and doing the we're a bit wounded but we're going to get it home lap at the end, because a lot of teams would not have done that, but that is not in Porsche's mindset either. But they will not win this race this weekend. It will be Audi or Toyota.
Marcel, box this lap, use in lap button.
In English and German from Lena Gade, box this lap. So they are coming in with the number 2 car, Marcel Fessler, towards the last third of the lap. This is the splash he needs, exactly as we predicted on lap 140. We will run through to lap 157.
And if he needs one, then Lucas Di Grassi most certainly does too, does he not? He's got 90 seconds to the good. It should be well enough to keep Marcel Fessler in the lead of this race, but it's going to need a faultless...
Oh, and the leader's ran right over the AstroTurf on his way into the pits. Marcel Fessler, 2 chunks of AstroTurf. I could only see one there before. I hope that is still 1 chunk of AstroTurf and not 1 chunk of AstroTurf and a bit of Audi under tray.
It was a big piece of AstroTurf. We'd just seen something pop up saying there was AstroTurf.
Well, I said that the 2 laps before that I could see it there, and here comes the number 1 of Luca Di Grassi, and he will come through. Michelin man, Michelin engineer, looking at the tyres. The thumbs up. They're going to stay. They're going to the last. It'll just be a splash of diesel.
2 stints and a bit for those Michelins.
That's impressive. That is very impressive here. Now, they didn't even bother looking at the car, so clearly didn't think there was any problem.
Yes, indeed. This is absolutely edgy stuff.
And the problem, as reported by Louise Beckett, who has been brilliant for us tonight. Louise, I can't thank you enough. Is not full engine power on the Porsche. So whether that is MGU, MGH or ICE engine, you work that bit out yourself.
There is Wolfgang Ulrich with... That's that Harry Tinkle bloke who was in here just a moment ago.
He gets everywhere.
He does. Great to see Audi allowing Harry to just take a look at this. There's clearly the potential for the relationship with COTA and Audi Sport to go further next year. So Fessler, 39 seconds in the pit lane. That should put the gap at just about 50 seconds at the end of this lap. Actually, sorry, about 40 seconds at the end of this lap.
Manassian holding it just under 4 seconds behind Matsuda for the battle in P2. Richie Stanaway now is pretty much right. In fact, he's gone by Christian Reed. He's gone by. So it's Aston 1 and 2. So there is the second change of 4 that we predicted in the classes.
And I don't think Richie's done yet. This is, of course,
the 9 seconds to make up.
This is the championship leading car. 11 minutes remaining. 9 seconds to go to make up.
There's the visual confirmation. And
good run though from Proton Competition this week.
They are such a great team as well, aren't they?
They are.
The absolute epitome of the privateer team.
Absolutely, you know, pleasure to deal with, pleasure to go racing with. Christian Reed, absolute gent. Completion of that last lap, lap 150 in the books now for Marcel Fessler for the number 2 Audi squad. And the gap we will see in just a few moments is going to be well under a minute. But does Lucas Di Grassi have to pit the car? 10 minutes remaining. Sebastian Buemi is closing that gap, 11.4 seconds. The 8 Toyota behind the Audi. Here comes the number 1 to complete that lap. And the gap is going to be 56 seconds.
Yeah.
But where is Sebastian Buemi? He's closer.
He's not close.
Here he comes.
He's not close enough. Well, he comes across the line and the gap is 10 seconds.
It's 10 seconds.
Yeah. Just a little bit over.
Took a second out of the advantage of
traffic for
the
both
Audi.
of them. Well, what's going to decide this race then for second and third will be traffic. And both of these guys, look at de Grassi, is not exactly shy as the Toyota goes off the circuit.
All 4 wheels
there
off the circuit there. He was very ragged indeed. And he is pushing very hard. And that's cost him. It's cost him a second in that sector. He can't afford to lose that kind of time.
So no advantage gained there. There is Mark Lieb without full power of the Porsche 2-litre turbo and the battery pack. And again, Mark is down in the 58s when all around him are in 53s and 52s.
It'll be very frustrating for him, won't it? But he'll want to bring this home.
Yeah. The problem is, of course, and again, we've said this before, any part of the drivetrain starts to play up, you're in real trouble because everything is so interconnected.
He's only 31 seconds now behind de Grassi. If de Grassi has to stop...
De Grassi doesn't have to stop.
Definitely not?
No. He's failed to the end, said Hindhoff confidently, without even asking Truswell. Buemi taking time out of the guys ahead of him in every single sector.
There are 2 or 3 battles here that just a single stumble is going to make a positional change. We've got Alex Wirtz throwing this number 7 Tota around, 15 seconds back from Webber. Not
for
going
5th position.
Not going quickly enough, but these are big points. You know, not going quickly enough to catch him, but certainly going quickly enough to actually take advantage if there's a problem ahead. Richie Stanaway has absolutely got the hammer down. 7.8 seconds back. Taking a second a lap out. It's not going to be quite enough unless Pedro Lamy stumbles, but it's going to be very, very close.
Fair play to Bart Hayden and the Rebellion boys. The 12th car in 7th position. 8 laps off the leaders, but only 4 laps. No, not even that actually. Just on 5 laps away from the back of the Porsches.
Kudos too to the CLM team, the Lotus number 9 team. That car, we have 8 minutes remaining. Looks like going to the end. It may not have been on the pace.
It did a sub-2 minute lap in the hands of James Rossiter.
It did at least 2 sub-2 minute laps. And its first race after what's been a troubled week for them.
KCMG have got no number light on the right-hand side of the 47 car. Now, it's late in the day. Let's check the right-hand side of this car as it comes through here. Oh, that's not illuminated. No number panel. This is the leader. This is Tsugo Matsuda, who's doing a cracking job. And in fact, he took a little bit of time out the last lap around of Nick Manassi, and it's up to 4.5 seconds now. It was just under 4. And this, I was going to suggest, is another nomination for driver of the race. Matsuda has done a stunning job against one of the best in the business.
Yeah, he did have that stumble, which is one black mark in the book for...
Now you say the same about Buemi?
Absolutely, yes.
But he's under pressure now. He can't afford to crack now. He threw away second place when he was fighting for the lead. There is the 75 Porsche.
Let's keep an eye too, John, on that 5th place battle.
I am.
As Mark Webber's times are just going out a little, and Alex Wirtz is heading in the opposite direction. That gap is down now under 13 seconds. It is only 6 minutes left. Darren Turner, meanwhile. This has been a great run for the number 97 crew. This is the
Turner and Mucker have really forged one of those partnerships that we will look back on in a few years' time and say, that was magnificent. They brought the best out of each other. Like, you know, when Dindo and Alan McNish, when they got together,
absolutely,
they were by no means the same style of driver, and yet they both got more out of themselves for working with each other. And then you added Christensen into the mix.
I absolutely agree. And Darren Turner, I mean, what a huge part he's been of Aston Martin Racing's 10-year history. I think, you know, been part of almost every significant result they've had.
Yeah,
has featured Darren Turner as part of that driving squad.
And he's developed the cars as they've come through, whether it's been the Gentleman Racing cars, the GT4s, and the GT3s. There's the 98 car of Pedro Lamy, currently leading the GT AM category, but being closed in on by Richie Stanaway. Keep an eye open in the background for the 95 car, Pedro Lamy in the 98 Aston Martin. And It's down under 7 seconds now for Stanaway. He's going to fall about 5 minutes short on this. Christian Reid will hold on to third place in the 88 Porsche. Now, Buemi 14 seconds away from Di Grassi and isn't closing any further. Mark Lieb. Now is Webber closing down on Lieb?
This is going to really close up, by the way, the GTM battle.
Oh, massively.
You're going to have 3 cars within 2 or 3 points of each other at the end of this race if it stays this way. Darren Turner, meanwhile, and Stefan Mucker need the points. They've not had the best of starts to their season, but it's going to be taking points away from the Ferrari, and that's the important thing, to keep this battle alive.
Now, race control saying that the 12 Rebellion has AstroTurf under the right front of that car. Well, that's a tale of 2 different manufacturers. AUDI Schonach on the right, Rob Leutmann's in the middle there. I think Toyota came here thinking they had better than half a chance again.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt.
They failed. They were robbed at Le Mans, and they were.
Just
in terms of the result. Sorry, Graham, go ahead.
Apologies, John. Just to show how hard everybody's pushing, to the 1,000th, the second and third place cars match the lap times. 1:54.648 for Lucas Di Grassi, an identical time last time around from Sebastian Buemi. Impressive, and I'm sure frustrating.
And again, this will shuffle around the championship. Rob Leutmann there with the beard and the red-faced watch. What could we have done different is what he's thinking there. He's always wondering, as all of these guys are, how can we improve? There's Martin Pass in the background there, contemplating the 3-0 thrashing that Arsenal put over Aston Villa today.
Yep, Martin Pass should recognise as being a bit like a Brummy Dindo Capello.
Dindo Capello here, by the way, was giving R8 LMS passenger rides this morning.
Oh, I've been out with Dindo in an R8, that's something to behold.
Can you imagine what he was like in an R8 LMS race car with a second seat in?
I think probably reasonably spectacular.
What do you think for breakfast, sir? No, I think I'll give it a miss.
I'll leave that miss for the rest of the week.
So Fesler leads it and would look to have the win and the top step for the number 2 Audi that he shares with Andre Lotterer and Ben Treluet. The second position at the moment is Di Grassi versus Buemi, and they are lapping so close together as to make near or no difference at all. Nick Manassian has shot his bolt and drops away to 6.5 seconds. Our prediction of 4 changes in the 4 classes, we got half right. We've seen 2.
But they have served Sergei Zlobin very well indeed today.
Yes, they have.
It fell their way, but they've brought this thing home, and it's going to be another hatful of points for the Russian squad. By far their best result of the season. Richie Stanaway, meanwhile, has closed to within 3.5 seconds now. It's going to be the last lap.
This is for the lead. This is for the lead in the race, and he took 3 seconds out of him last time around. Now, this is going to come down, and we've seen this happen before in America. Remember Sebring a few years ago when the GT battle was just in front of the leader and effectively had to do another lap.
I remember. I had to hold my fingers on my ears as you bellowed into the mic correctly.
My head exploded several times.
Indeed. On
that final lap. So whilst Fesler is not cruising to victory, we're going to revise down our race run to 157 laps now. Matsuda looks nailed on unless he makes a mistake for P2 ahead of Manassian, and ESM will be on the podium.
A lap and a half for these GTM runners.
And it's Turner, Peely and Bruni, 92 Aston, Porsche, 97 Aston, 92 Porsche, 51 Ferrari. But it's the AM lead, now down to 2.7 seconds, and Pedro Lamy in the 98 Aston has Richie Stanaway in the 95, the Dane train, and he is coming like a train, and the laps are not helping at the moment because Pedro Lamy is now down to under 2 seconds as they've gone across the line. Now, where's the leader? He's coming around now. This will be the last lap. The checkered flag will be out, but the GT battle is the one we'll need to see after this car goes through. This is the GTM battle between the 95 and the 98. Lamy and Stanaway, less than 2 seconds for the win. As across the line and taking the... there you go. One more to go. One more to go. So that means...
2 in GTM.
1 and a half in GTM. So the checkered flag is not shown. It's not over. We promised you 6 hours of racing. A shake of the head from Rob Leupens is... He knows they're not going to get it, but the real battle now is for GTEM coming across the line. They're in the second part of the circuit at the moment, coming down the long back straight.
1.5 seconds it's down to now, John.
This is getting very close indeed. We promised you 6 hours, we're delivering a little bit more. And really good.
This is your last lap, this is your last lap.
Coming through to turn,
it's
9/10 of a second.
It's under a second.
9/10 of a second.
And there's a full lap to go here, John.
And they've still got exactly the last third. Coming through 14 and 15 now. Lamy and Stanaway.
Copy, Marcel.
As the GT battle, as Marcel Fessler has eased raced off on this one. And Luca Di Grassi is too far back to make the difference. But Richie Stanaway is... They still haven't crossed the line. They've still got 1 full lap to go. There's the 91 Porsche. And its issues today. Nick Tandy is... now, is he going to get lapped? He'll not be disappointed to say that. I don't think it's been a banner day for the 91 Manthey Porsche.
Lamy is half a second up with a full
just gone across the line. So just ahead of this battle going up the hill. We'll see this car across the line and then let's hope. Right, win for Audi, fantastic. Cleans up the manufacturers' championship at the moment and goes to the head of it. But we must see the GTE battle now, which is through the S's at the moment. And it could well change on the last lap, and it's down to less than half a second. Less than half a second now between Lamy and Stanaway. Here they go. And still half a lap to go. The two Astons, Richie Stanaway in the background. Big lock up from Lamy as he goes onto the back straight. There'll be people cruising around here knowing it's the last lap, and they've got racing coming on, and there's less than 10 cars lengths between them. And Richie Stanaway, as they go past stricken cars, that's the KCMG car going slowly, is it?
No, that is...
No, it's Ed Brown.
No, it's not. It's Nick Manassian.
Right
off it.
Yeah, Manassian's in trouble. Manassian's in trouble.
But Ed Brown has finished. Has taken the checkered flag, so Manassian needs to just cross the line to secure second. I don't think Stanaway's going to do this, John.
I tell you what, he's going to have a good go. He's closing in. He's still got a couple of corners, you know, Nick, Graham. As through comes the P2
winner. That's Matsuda takes the checkered flag for KCMG. Great win for them on what's not been a great day at all for the G-Drive team.
Darren Turner, Patrick Pile and Bruni in that order. And here are the battling Astons, 2 corners to go. Lamy, has he timed it just right? He seems to have had. It's a nice picture. But the Dane train, well, got to be one of the drives of the race from Richie Stanaway, and closes it down to under a second at the line. And as they go across, in fact, it went back out to almost exactly a second. So Lamy doubled his scant margin on the last lap.
The only remaining car to cross the line can be Nick Manassian.
I think he might be short on fuel.
And he's crossed the line. He's finished second for the 27 SMP racing car. That means they secure, or they retain the lead in LMP2. So 1-2 for Audi.
And what does that do to the Manufacturers' Championship at the top of the table? Well, Audi will leapfrog Toyota.
Absolutely, Toyota went into the race with a 2-point advantage, but maximum points from the race, at least, if not for the weekend, from Audi. Toyota having taken pole.
And there is Stefan Mucker's teammate Darren Turner winning the pro part GD, Chris Renke there. And there's Alan McNish and his very good friend Reinhold Joost, who has masterminded so many endurance victories for, well,
he's the hostess with the mostest, isn't he?
Ralph Juttner in the slightly grey of the overalls there. 27-point lead in the Manufacturer Championship provisionally for Audi on the back of this result that sees them take the first 2 spots on the podium. And 10 seconds at the end, but for a chasing Sebastian Buemi. What a run back that was from Toyota number 8. By no means a clean run from them.
But Toyota will be crushingly disappointed with losing this race. They had this on pace. It has to be said, John, made a bad call. That lost in the race more than anything else. That lost in the race when the rain came. Audi made the right call, and I'm afraid the other factory teams just didn't, and they've paid the penalty. And what that's done here is it's closed the gap right up in the Drivers' Championship. What it looks like a pretty insurmountable total at the moment for the number 8 car has been halved. The gap has been halved by the number 2 squad. These 3 guys badly want that World Championship back. They've had a taste of that success. They let Tom Christensen and Alan McNish
and Lloyd Duval
borrow that. I'm sure they'll feel that way. They want the number 1 back, and they are pushing hard.
Look
hard.
at what this means. These guys are professional racing drivers. This is what they do for a living. But don't let that fool you into thinking there's no passion involved in this at all. There,
Ralph Juttner.
is Ralph Juttner, and Cedric down there from the WEC, just getting everyone together. Hop Suisse indeed for Marcel Fessler. I like Marcel. I think he's actually underrated.
Oh, Marcel, I have a huge admiration for. I remember, I think his breakthrough drive that I saw with him at Spa 24 Hours.
There's Louis down with Marcel. We'll have a quick chat with him in just a moment's time. Get him in front of the sponsors' names.
That's Ben.
And Ben Treluate is who we'll hear from first in just a few moments' time. The Audi supporters in the Audi Race Experience and the Audi Club North America. 30 years of the Audi Owners Club of North America this year, and what a passionate group of people they are. Here's your winners.
Guys, a superb performance. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It was a really tough race, but I think all the team did a really great job, really great. No mistakes and a very good strategy, so we can thank all the team, Michelin tires, and of course my mates. It was a good one.
Well done, thank you.
Andre Lotterer joining in there. The gap to the Toyotas in the Driving Championship now taken down to 10 points. Buemi, Lapierre and Davidson still leading, but Anthony Davidson wasn't happy earlier on. He'll be less happy now. Exactly the result they didn't want. Not only is the number 2 Audi won, but the number 1 Audi has got between them and it, and so it's given them a good lead in terms of points haul for this weekend. 27 points the Manufacturers' Championship lead for Audi now. That's a turnaround, although the squad do still lead the drivers' points provisionally by 10 points. Well, what a fantastic day we've had for round 4 of the FIA World Endurance Championship. Things are bigger in Texas. So just under 5 hours of racing in reality. And again, the classification. Porsche, they're not going to be happy with what they've taken home from Dave. Toyota thought they had the race, and I think they did. Porsche were hoping that their new package would have done better than that. Well done to the 47. The SMP's done great, having their first and second.
Extending the lead in the championship, and I wouldn't have put money on that before this weekend.
No.
Not with the new Ligier and the revised Orica up against them. GTE, that'll be Aston Martin Racing and the number 97 car closing what is a very large gap, but they've taken points away from the championship leaders and the championship second place team. So in terms of keeping the championship alive, the order's been finished there in the right way, 97 from 92 and 51, and then that fantastic last lap for GTM. They're the winning car.
Blowers on the rear wheels there because Pierre Fillon there on the left, the president of the ACO, and he will be, I think, very happy with what he's just seen. So Gerard Nouveau, who we had in here, he was a bundle of energy when he came in here today.
He was, and I think we've seen a complete turnaround here in the Circuit Americas. Last year, it's got to be said, the organisers went away feeling very underwhelmed.
The FIA, yes, absolutely.
But actually coming away from Texas this year, we've seen a big crowd, an enthusiastic crowd. We've seen, John, what we always want to see at these things, an event. And I think every likelihood that can now continue onwards and upwards. As Gerard quite rightly said, it's something they're looking to build. That's what this should be about.
So let's just confirm then our podiums in GT. It will be the 98 Aston on the top step from the 95 Aston in second place, and the 88 Pro Speed car in the Porsche in third position. In GTE Pro, Ferrari number 51, the AF Corsa car from the Porsche, the Monti Porsche of Works Porsche of the 92 squad, and then Aston Martin 97. But let's have a look at the overall and LMP1H podium as Johnny Green gets ready to bring the guys out on the larger-than-life podium, and it is in third place then, the number 8 Toyota squad, TSO 40 of Toyota Hybrid Racing, of Nicolas Lapierre, Sebastian Buemi and Anthony Davis. And the only thing for Toyota is it could have been worse. It could have been the 7 car on the podium, who aren't as high up in the points. In second position then, the number 1 Audi Sport Team Just R18 e-tron Quattro Hybrid for Lucas de Grassi, Lloyd Duval and Tom Christensen. And the winners of round 4 of the FIA World Endurance Championship for 2014, the Lone Star Le Mans here at the Circuit of the Americas, the number 2 Audi e-tron Quattro Audi Sport Team Just squad of Marcel Fessler, Andrea Lotterer and Benoit Treluet. And now the national anthem of the winning entrant. Audi and Toyota on the podium here in Texas. Audi take the Manufacturers' Championship lead by 27 points. Unofficially, the guys on the right there, the number 8 crew, they will hold on to the lead of the Drivers' Championship by a reduced margin, 10 points, and they do not look happy at all.
And that's, I think, Gerard Larousse, isn't it? Is Gerard the
Grand Marshal.
Grand Marshal this weekend? They don't look happy, but you know what? That was a heck of a run. There's nothing much more the drivers could have done there.
Don't forget, when the race restarted, they weren't even on the lead lap.
Absolutely right. Amazing stuff. And smiles from the defending world champion. But I think he'd rather be on the step immediately to his left. As we move to the winners, an amazing 75 points out of the last 2 races, after just 10 points out of the first 2. And all of a sudden, John, the World Championship is fully alight.
And we're only halfway through the season in terms of races completed. 10th and 12th of October, we head to the land of the rising sun and to Mount Fuji and the Fuji International Circuit for round 5 of the FIA World Endurance Championship for 2005. See it all here on FIA WEC TV. Graham and myself taking you through the action of qualifying and the whole race live. And I have to say, I love the racing at Fuji. Not a dissimilar circuit in character and topography to this one, although it's a clockwise circuit rather than anti-clockwise. And now the cleaning bills start. As the guys managed to get the champagne corks out very quickly. The Audi guys, they've all tried to defend themselves. They are, yeah. They've all stood on podium many times before. And Ralph Juttner sensibly doesn't reappear with the manufacturer's trophy until there's only little squirts left. And Ralph kept his till the end.
Now there's a professional. That's an engineer for you.
There's a tactician.
There you go.
Confirmation then of the overall result for round 4 of the FIA World Endurance Championship for 2014 sees the 2 Audi Sport Team Yost e-tron Quattros take the 1st and 2nd positions. Toyota Racing salvaging, in effect, 3rd position in a race that they could well and perhaps should. Certainly on pace, that 8 car and indeed the 7 car.
The next mission is Japan.
Fuji is our home race. To beat Audi and Toyota is the target.
Our aim, winning in front of our fans. One mission, winning the 6 hours of Fuji.
We're ready. What about you?
It's October the 10th to the 12th, 11th and 12th, live on FIA WEC TV and on the FIA WEC app, of course, with Graham and myself. Always worth being involved in that race. Time zone's obviously a little difficult for some of you, but worth being up and around, getting an early breakfast on if you're in Europe to watch that one. Many of you stayed up through the night, and we thank you for that as we go directly to the P2 podium. To the P1L podium. And that is the CLM guys. Got the car home, as Graham said. They were, in fact, only...
Second position in the class.
I'm just trying to... There were only 9 laps. Given that they started from the pit lane and had some issues, they were only 9 laps away from the Rebellion. Only 2 classified finishes there, with the 13 Rebellion not making it to the end.
But number 12 car takes it.
And now the Swiss national anthem as the entrants of Rebellion are indeed from Switzerland.
Give me 6.
So that was the LMP1 Privateers, the P1L podium, and they are a bit light in the cars. And I think that's a pretty good effort by the number 9 CLM team.
Good news for the AER concern.
Yes,
that car.
their engine back in the back of a car.
And lots of interest in that engine.
Lucas Sauer was the only one who went off the track there, I think. James Rossiter and Christophe Bouchou kept it together. And the 12 Rebellion Racing team won it with